We're going for my phone this time. Is that good? I'm gonna do the last. I'm gonna do a short chapter from the Colburn Bible. I figured I'd let you guys hear it live, and also let you know that the hypostasis of the archon. Oh, looking down here, the hypostasis of the archon. The archons will be released tomorrow, Monday night. And I'm super stoked. It's probably the most real and gangster Gnostic text I've come across so far, as far as readability and meaning. Think archons, think the gatekeepers. What's the homie? Thoth mentioned the archons quite a bit in the Emerald Tablets. And that's what this deals about. In fact, it even discusses the substantial reality of those archons. So exactly what those things are, how they exist, etc. It's dope. It's super cool, actually. So stoked for you guys here. I'll probably do a little premiere. It's not too long. And shout out to Richie Breathe because he helped edit. So thanks, brother. Nice. We'll be able to get you guys more audiobooks more quickly with his help. And then we're releasing the Colburn Bible. So I'll read the last chapter of the first section of the Colburn Bible. If you guys don't know what that is, check out one of my previous videos on it. I don't want to go in too much because I'm going to read this chapter and then we can kind of BS after. Yeah, but hello, Cynthia, Rainfog. Oh, you're in the Philippines? Well, good afternoon. It's actually nighttime here. Cynthia, hi. Shaw, Sykes, Hessa. Hessa, I'm having some of your tea right now. The frankincense resin you sent. Having some frankincense tea as we speak, so thank you kindly for that. Patsar, what's cracking? Okay. So, that being said, whoops. There we go. And Herthu became the first king over all the people of Caucasus. Plus, I feel like when I'm on the spot, I read better. I don't mess up as much. So we'll record. It's 9:41 a.m. here in Dubai. Man, I would love to go to Dubai. Anyway, let me pull up this link. How you guys doing? Did you have a good weekend? It's a full moon. Oh, it's an eclipse? What the hell? I didn't know it's an eclipse tonight. Yeah, good luck with the eclipse, everybody. I don't know. Okay. Well, here we go. This shan't take long. Great. I had a good weekend. So, where are we at? Okay, we're about to read from the hypostasis. No, this is from the Colburn Bible, which is pretty dope. And chapter 8, Guinevere. Maeva, one-time wife of Dedam, found refuge among people of Ardis, where she gave birth to Guinevere, the cuckoo child. But as the child grew, it was seen that she had red hair. Though all knew there were fair-haired and dark-haired people, none had ever seen anyone with red hair. Also, strange maladies had manifested in Ardis, for which the strangers were blamed. Therefore, because of these things, Maeva and her child were driven out. They came to a pool near the border of Caucasus and built a habitation of reeds. living there for many years. However, Maeva was killed by a wild beast and Guinevere was left alone. But she learned much from familiars who came to her, and so she became a sorceress. Time went by, and the half-folk, called Yoslings, began to gather around her habitation, and they thought she was a goddess and worshipped her. As her fame spread, word came to Herthew concerning the strange woman. So he sent men to find out about her and report. Guinevere knew about Herthew, but he did not know who she was or that any child of Maeva lived. When Herthew heard the report, he was intrigued and sent men to escort her to him, and she came at his request. They brought her into his presence wearing a cloak of feathers and a garment of doeskin, her hair unbraided like that of other women, falling outside the cloak almost to her knees. He was amazed at the cascade of red hair, and his heart was stirred by her beauty. Herthew gave Guinevere a bower and attendants, but she preferred to be attended by Yoslings, whom the people entered. What the hell? I can't even. He entered her bower. Oh, that word bower is messing me up. But she preferred to be attended by Yoslings, whom the people entered her bower. Yet her bearing was modest and maidenly, the Yoslings showing her every form of respect. It was the season of fruitfulness, and when Herthew went to the gathering place, he took Guinevere with him. But the Yoslings could not be taken there, so they remained behind, but the people removed them. When they arrived at the gathering place, and Gwyddon saw Guinevere, he was startled, for he had seen such a woman in the darkened waters, but he welcomed her, and was surprised at her wisdom and skill at sorcery. When the time came for Gwyddon to prophesy, and all who came to hear him were gathered about, they became apprehensive, for his coming forth was delayed, and the moon began to disappear, eaten away by the blackness of the night. Then when they started to jostle and flee, there was a great shout, and Gwyddon appeared. As he did, a great fire sprang up on either side of him. The people remained, for each was rooted to the place where he stood. Gwyddon spoke at length, telling them that the night sky sign heralded a new era. That as the moon again grew in brightness, so should their race wax strong and virile, spreading wide across the face of the earth, driving lesser races before them. That a son of Herthew would lead their sons out of Caucasus, and his sons and their sons would continue westwardly towards Hesperus, meaning the land of the spirits. That there they would meet their final destiny. He told them that there would be a great bloodletting, when brother would fight with brother and father with son, but that this would be the planting of the centropole, around which the framework for the structure of their race would be woven. He said, "I shall go before the vanguard in spirit." Later, Herthew asked Gwyddon to cast the omen sticks and read the ashes, as he wished to know the things concerning Guinevere. This Gwyddon did, telling him that she was his fate mate, one destined to be his wife, that she was indeed a true maiden, and he would not be forbidden. He said, "She acts as she does through innocence and not through brashness." But when Gwyddon told Herthew But what, Gwydon told Herthy, was no more than a grain in the grain sack among all that which he knew and saw. When Herthy returned to his homeside, he paid court to Guinevere and asked her to marry him. And this she consented to do after 1 year. The people, hearing what was intended, were displeased and murmured against the marriage, saying it was unseemly for their king to marry a sorceress, and one strange in so many ways. Also, there was a custom forbidding the intermingling of blood, but there was no doubt as to what she was, some thinking she was one who could be acceptable. Guinevere was not the blood kin of Herthy, so as the marriage would not be incestuous, Guinevere decided she would say nothing of their relationship. For she was in love with him, and her love was ever ready to make excuses. Also hit the wrong button and blew the page up. Alright, so there's one more page. I always think that these chapters are short, but it's just that the text is small and the pages are like, it's deceiving. It's deceiving long. What's up, Sochi Rainfrog? Elizabeth. So I've been reading this thing called the Colburn Bible, and it's like a mixture of Egypt. The first book is written by, is like an old school version of the Bible written by Egyptians, and then the other is continued by the Celtics. So it's this weird occultic text that blends an alternate version of human history, and loosely based on the Bible, because the names seem to be like Dedam for Adam being cast out of this garden because they were eating something that gave them special powers to some degree, so they lost the grace. Like they talk about the deluge, the floods and stuff. It's really fucking cool, and it's written under the view of the Egyptians and the ancient Celtics. So you have like Egyptian stuff going on as far as God and mythology, gods and their pantheon and mythology, and then you have the Celtics. So you've got like druidic mysticism, sorcery. It's pretty neat, man and woman. So we're reading the last chapter. We met some sorceress trick, but there's a bunch of different races of humans, by the way. There's like halflings that are called yoslings, and there's like evil people, spirit people. It talks about basically how there was the fall of man, and then the dark people were basically like, fuck it, we're just going to be dark and explore this realm. And so they became these sort of lesser half-spirit demonic things that aren't necessarily bad, but they're like definitely badder than the good guys. It's pretty neat. And one of the humans is about to marry a red-headed sorceress chick that he fell for. Everyone's pissed. They're like, dude, you can't do that. She's a sorceress. He's like, I do what the fuck I want. It was fated by the rune casting. And I'm not sure what happens after that. The Colburn Bible. Thank you kindly, Richie. Oh, nice. Brain fog. I'm glad I was able to inspire you. Hell yeah. Dope. Oh, the update already passed. Your Nana warned you about what? Dundra, the sorceresses? I have another Gnostic audiobook being released tomorrow called The Hypostasis of the Archons. And it talks about it's stupid relevant to everything that's happening today. Think archons, think the rulers, think the gatekeepers, think those people that provide the main sort of architect of our reality, the matrix, the things that hold up the matrix. Those are the archons. And the hypostasis of the archons basically that I'm going to release tomorrow, the audiobook I'm releasing tomorrow, talks about the reality, the substantial reality of those beings, how they operate, how they work, their past, history, future, past, present, future, and basically the mechanics of them. It's super cool. And that one's being released tomorrow. It's relatively short. Richie Breathe helped out and has been helping out with a bunch of edits for the upcoming audiobooks, which is really, really helpful. Yes, that'd be archons. Well said it. Jesus. What up, I'm Pepita? Alright, so we'll continue with this red-headed sorceress chick. How do you fight the archons? You don't fight the archons, Ricardo Maran, because we learn, and this information is via emerald tablets, loosely speaking, that the archons are each tier is ruled by an archon. Each archon vibrates to a certain, more or less to a certain frequency. If you match that frequency, when you get to the archon, it vibrates them like you resonate with the archon, and it goes nah, fail, and it basically kicks you back into the maze of the matrix where you have to evolve and do your thing in order to raise your vibration past that archon. So it's not so much fighting the archon as it is about raising the vibe higher than that archon so that you get to like more or less the next level. Not fighting the archon, but rising above the archon, which is useful to me, at least, because then it's not so much there's a bunch of evil shit, there's a bunch of good shit, though there is. It's just changing the frequency, which is easy. So you're like, oh, okay, well, what does that look like in the world? Well, it looks like eating certain kinds of food. It looks like having certain kinds of conversations. Like, that's simple things that could, change your vibe. Meditating more often. That's one thing that will change the vibe. It's like simple shit, you know what I mean? No, you don't have to read every fucking textbook on spirituality that ever existed. Like, that's not the point. Though that's super fun, don't get me wrong. Have at it. But I'm doing it. Anywho. Are they connected to the Kabbalah? I'm not strong on the Kabbalah. I can't speak too much on the Kabbalah. Sorry. Archon is not a negative energy. It's negative if you want to be like, okay, that's not my goal. So you say, okay, I need to go. There's two options. There's one that's right and there's one that's left. I need to go right to go to my destination. That's all it is. Right or left isn't bad. Right's just the one you need. Left's the one that you don't need. So, but you can, of course, it's negative. Specifically, you can be like, well, I don't want to go that way, so that's bad. Okay, we can label that bad, but like, it's more useful to think in terms of what's necessary for you at any given moment. What makes the most sense? Like, does it make more sense for you to fucking brush your teeth, or like eat or snacks and fall asleep with a bag of chips in bed? Like, it's that. It's as simple as that. Like, that's it. Sometimes you want a snack. Sometimes you got the munchies, man, and you just want to chill, eat some chips, fall asleep, watch a movie. Like, do you, boo boo? That's you know. So if I may be so facetious. Did botany open you up spiritually, or was one before the other? For sure, 100%. I would say the biggest thing that opened me up spiritually, though, was a really strict, but like really satisfying Kundalini program that I was doing. I kind of set up my own personalized Kundalini program with um, proper meditations and chants and mantras and really doing the thing and staying consistent with it for a long while. And I had like some no fap stuff going on. I was really dialing it in for a couple years. Basically, I was going on lots of walks on the beach, and those like year and a half, 2 years was what really sort of turned on the magic in a really palpable way. But botany 100% was amplified everything. The botany basically amplified what I was diving into. So both, I would say they both had a huge influence on where I've ended up. The pizza toppings. The way you spoke about the archons is the same dynamics of the Kabbalah. Nice. That's the cool thing, man. That's what I've been finding about pretty much everything I talk about, like the Kabbalion and Hermetics and the tablets, is they swear to God they have so many corresponding elements to a lot of the other stuff that I've been studying that it's like it just lends credence to the pursuit, which is helpful. Which is helpful for the motivation. Where were we? Cynthia, thanks for sharing. Celibacy has been key for me. Yeah, celibacy is key for a lot of people. Stuff because we're driven by the physical. So the physical only seeks to, not only, but the physical tends to satisfy the physical. Like on an animalistic nature, it's just eat and procreate. It's like, or I should say, stay alive and reproduce. Those are, am I safe and sheltered? Great. Am I reproducing? Dope. That's it. The physical world doesn't necessarily call out for the higher realms until you introduce the advanced physical being like humans. We have a more advanced consciousness, so we know that we can't just be driven by primal urges because they're sticky. The primal world is sticky. The physical world is sticky. You know what I mean? So when we're just trying to smash all the time, basically what I'm getting at is we're just trying to smash whatever and whoever. Not all of us, but a lot of us. Especially growing up, it's just like smash. And it really gets sticky, man. So the celibacy thing doesn't work for all people, but by golly, I would say it works for most. Mia, hello from the Navajo Desert. What? Nice. That's super cool. Is that the high desert? The Navajo Desert? You guys got the high desert? That's dope. I love the desert. I do. All right, I got to read the rest of this chapter though. How much we got? This page is kind of. It takes so long to read 2.5 pages. Nice to meet you too, Mia. Nice to meet you too. I'm glad you decided to come hang with the squad. Appreciate it. No, Ricardo, I haven't found out about the the big rocks in the middle of nowhere. Mostly because I have no idea what big rocks in particular that you're talking about. I feel there are a great deal of big rocks in the middle of nowhere on planet planet Earth. Otherwise, and Mia, what brought you to the channel? Which video got you in? Was it the Emerald Tablets video? Because that's one of my favorites. They are not rocks. They are made of aluminum. Dope. Okay. Then technically they're not monoliths, because monoliths literally means one rock. Like lithic, like the lithic layer, like lith is rock. Mono is one. So if it's a giant piece of metal, maybe it's a monometal. That's all I got. I don't have any more puns with metal and rock. Exegesis says, I have to ask, oh no, this is definitely going to be juicy. Considering these strange times, splanspemic, election stuff, is there any specific reading / book / passage you find extra important to pay attention to? Dude, the fucking audiobook that I'm releasing tomorrow, that's the whole reason why I was trying to I'm particularly stoked about this Gnostic text. I'm going to go ahead and hypostasis of the archons PDF. So don't even wait for the audiobook to be released tomorrow. Go read this now. Get a solid understanding of it, wrap your head around it, and then come listen to my audiobook that I'm releasing tomorrow on the channel. Bada bing, bada boom. This is it. I'll tell you why in just a second. I have to post the link for you guys in the group chats. Okay, here we go. Yes, Ricardo, it's going to be available here on my channel. Also, you guys, I'm trying a new thing, all right? For a couple of different reasons, I'm trying a new thing. One, I took off the ads on I took off the commercials on my audiobooks. I left the overlay ads up so I can make some revenue, but I took the commercials out. Just it's tough, man. I want to make cash. I want to make cash on the audiobooks. They're my main money makers as far as passive income goes. But I'm listening to them, and then I'm going from Thoth to some half-naked dude with man bun trying to sell me yoga classes. And I'm like, fuck. What happened with time, Thoth? There was this thing. It was linear. It's real. Is it real? What does it all mean, Basil? And then yoga classes. It's So I took them off. That being said, if you guys could support the channel on the Patreon so we could pick up the slack somewhere, that would be dope. Also, share the video works too. Comment, like the video, all that stuff is great. But when you get it, it's gonna be a nice production quality, so it's definitely share worthy. I'm stoked. I'm really stoked. But I appreciate you guys' support thus far, because you guys are sharing the hell out of the content on the Man of Letters channel, and it makes me happy because we grow by the day. Yeah, but just make sure you hit the notification bell. That's should be right next to the subscribe button, and that's it. And that way you'll be notified when I release new videos. Pat's art, the most difficult part of my journey has been discipline and reprogramming my brain from learning neuroscience and psychology to get my primal self. Whoa. Nice, Pat. Sounds like you have a lot on your plate. Hey, Ricardo, you're going to have to help me out with the wording on that a bit, eh? You're gonna have You guys are gonna have it. Just be a little more. It's like, you're gonna what? The pizza toppings? Ha! Ha! Alexandra Polaksik. Yeah, veggie pizza. Veggie pizza. Yeah, I don't know. I've been eating real. I've been just cutting up the pizza toppings, the portobellos, real small portions of portobello, just to kind of get the portobello juices going. But like to micromanage them, one might say. I've been doing that fairly regularly, and I love it. It's one of my favorites. We're talking general, all around, better sense of existence. Just a little more, like, I find myself taking deep breaths more often. I find myself looking up more often. It's really weird. I notice how often I look down. Stand up a little straighter, like you're a little more, just in your body. It's nice. It's really nice. I suggest that. Mia, there's a Discord. Oh, I haven't been checking in the past couple days. My bad, y'all. But yeah, there's Discord. Pull this up. I have all my links right here. Not on the browser. Here we go. Ooh, what's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. The link you sent us is only 4 pages. Yeah, the hypothesis of the archons is short and sweet. Short and sweet. You guys will really enjoy it. But we're actually gonna call it because I didn't expect us to do that much chatting. But I should have known. You guys got to hear some of the Colburn Bible. And I guess you'll just have to stick around until the whole thing's done. I'm on page 20 of like 110. I've been slacking this past week. What can I say? But we're doing it. I have the Gospel of Mary, the Gnostic Gospel of Mary Magdalene. I've got the Gospel of Truth, which is a Gnostic text. I've got, tomorrow I'm releasing the Hypostasis of the Archons, and I believe there was one more. Maybe that was it. So I'm hoping those 3 audiobooks will put me out for this Colburn Bible. If not, I might have to do another short piece in the meantime. What? You have entered my reality on this full moon. It's a lunar eclipse. The fuck do we have a lunar eclipse? How did I miss that? I feel like I should be, if of anyone in my circle, I feel like I should be the one that knows when things of this sort of thing happens. Nice. I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad to enter the reality on 11/11 too. You're out in the Midwest, I see. Dope. Have you ever seen a bad creature? I've seen a wild creature when I had a lucid dream. I don't know if it was bad, but it came to me in a nightmare, and it looked like a Tasmanian devil from the Looney Tunes TV show, cartoon. And then it turned into a whole bunch of like 8-foot fiery red haired light purple skinned women. They were trying to kill me. But then when I went lucid, they stopped trying to kill me, And I was like, whoa, there are these avatar-looking creatures. And I went up to one of them, and I was like, why'd you guys stop following me? You were chasing me a second ago, now you're not. And she looks at me, she looks down at me, because she's like, I'm 5'8". She was like 8 foot tall. And she looks down and goes, if you only knew what you were capable of, you would devour us. And I thought, no shit. And I got really excited and started jumping back and forth over the house I was flying, because that was actually the first time I had ever been lucid, which was a bad idea because then I got excited and lost the lucidity. But yeah. I mean, I've felt things before. I mean, we've all felt shit, like felt spooks or seen some shadowy ass thing, or like have our little ghost story, so to speak. But that was the only time I'd ever encountered one, and it definitely did not feel like it was a part of me. And they were probably the most. They just felt sentient. They felt like they were things of their own will and their own like desires and minds. It didn't feel like they were a part. Even in all the characters I've met in my other lucid dreams, like I once met this Einstein-looking character, like literally looked like Einstein. But when I talked to him, when I saw him, he felt like. You guys ever seen that show Westworld on HBO? And the machines are just programs, but they're super real, but you know they're just sort of playing out their role. It was like that. But the pink monster chicks did not feel like that at all. It felt like I was in their world, actually. I felt like I was in a place that I didn't belong at. It was weird, dude. It's weird. Super weird. I'm reading something that you guys just sent me. My bad. Chance Mathis, what up? Mia had to learn and fight with the demons? Or the dark creatures? Damn. Carry on with that story. Interested. As three-dimensional creatures, are we technically demons? Following that train of thought, I see where you're coming from. I would say yes. But next question is, how is that useful? How is that piece of information? Like, what? Saying that, in a way, you're right. Like, how does that make you feel? Why is that useful to you? Like, does it make you feel better to know that you're part demon? Does it make you feel worse? Like, what's your angle on the question? In other words, my brother. That creature sounds draconian. Think OD, 1D, 2D. Creatures may manifest themselves in the 3D as the veil is thin this time of year. I came across you a long time ago, but in this moment it felt right to actualize interaction. I enjoy your mind and sometimes learn from you. Dope! Thanks, Mia. Makes me happy. I'm glad you guys learned shit, because I feel like I'm learning things on the go. Like someone just asked me about Rosicrucians a second ago. I've heard of them. I've not once ever picked up a healthy book or sat down with a healthy YouTube video, at least, or article, and went balls deep on the Rosicrucians. In passing, I've read about them a ton of times, so when you ask me what do I think of them, I don't know. I guess they have a manifesto. I would have to look into it. There's a lot. The Rosicrucian Enlightenment. Early 17th century, the manifestos caused excitement throughout Europe by declaring the existence of a secret brotherhood of alchemists and sages who were preparing to transform the arts and sciences and religious, political, and intellectual landscapes of Europe. Wars of politics and religion ravaged the continent. The works were reissued several times, followed by numerous pamphlets, favorable or otherwise. Between 1614 and 1620, about 400 manuscripts and books were published which discussed the Rosicrucian documents. Seems like they failed. Seems like their quest was to change Europe with this new sort of enlightenment for spirituality. Man, they failed miserably. We got fucking World War I and II. What the hell, Rosicrucians? You can't make a manifesto like that and then follow it up with the two of some of the most heinous wars in the history of humanity. Unless that was the goal. Plot twist, Rosicrucians are evil draconian lizard people. Their manifesto was a huge success. They're obviously Freemasons because I'm looking at the Knight of the Rose jewel. And you see the upside down triangle. It's got bird wings that completes it. And then you have the triangle on top with the compass going directly across the bottom. So it's Freemason shit. What is it? Just Freemason shit under a different name? See, now you guys got me on the Rosicrucians. This is how we get into. This is how I don't go to bed till 2 o'clock in the morning. This is how it happens right now. Right now. Ooh, the Goetia. I was doing some reading on that. I actually really enjoyed that. I enjoyed. Am I pronouncing that right? The Goetia, the Goetia. I enjoyed that more than I was like willing to admit for a long time. No, Discord is an app. Yeah, I know. Mia. Good question. No, Discord is a yes. Richie Breathe just filled you in. Discord is a chat platform. It's a series of online chat rooms that we basically everyone joins, and we have our own personal online private chat room where we talk about things relevant to the channel or loosely relevant to the channel, or just talk about anything and make homies from the channel. Yeah. Okay, let me get a link to that. Paging Agent Smith. Dude, it's probably like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning for Agent Smith. Yeah, let me figure out how do I live without you? I want to know. Hold on, let me do a little link drop for you here. I gotta pull it up on the browser. Cool. The audio. Getting messages from somewhere. Oh, is that it? Right there? Thanks. I think Richie Breathe just came through the clutch. That's definitely not the link I was gonna post. Try clicking on that. Mia. Flythith Cypher Ankh Creole Biracial Conjure Witch. Welcome. Take your shoes off. Stay a while. Stay a while and listen. Cool. Too many social medias, Ricardo. I know, man. I know it's hard to keep up. My buddy the other day was like, "Hey, do you have a Telegram?" I was like, "No, but I have 18 other messaging apps." And he went, "LOL. And then I downloaded Telegram. So now I have 19 messaging apps. The original meaning of demon isn't good or bad. It just means spiritual entity. Yeah. The Greeks, demons from Greek mythology were geniuses, right? Don't quote me, but definitely look it up. 90% sure demon was a genius. Because the way the Greeks thought was that people weren't geniuses themselves, that they were actually picking up thoughts from their demon. And you guys, there's man, I read a super cool book when I was little, a series of books called, it's like the Amber Spyglass Theories. The Golden Compass was the first book. They tried to make a movie with Nicole Kidman with the giant polar bears. It was a fucking god-awful movie. It sucked so bad. The books were dope. And I'm not just saying that because, like, sometimes the books are better, like in Harry Potter, but Harry Potter is dope as fuck. Lord of the Rings, dope as fuck, don't get me wrong. Narnia, usually dope. However, Golden Compass was an awful movie. The books, though, talked about demons, which is interesting because in the book, people's souls were outside of their body. It's really cool. HBO released a series on it that I've been meaning to watch. I haven't checked it out yet, but if you guys have HBO, check it out. Anywho, the people's souls existed as animals that could shapeshift. And then when kids hit puberty, the animals would solidify to their final form. And throughout the book, it takes place in alternate realities. And there's a reality where we live in that's talked about maybe 2% of the entire series. But most of it is just that reality of, and they call them their demons. It's like their soul, basically. And they have conversations with the soul, with the demon. It's super dope. It's one of my favorites. It's more science fiction fantasy than like, what's the word? Whimsical fantasy, I guess you could call it. I'm not sure. Anywho, guys should check it out. Yeah, the point being, there's many uses for demon throughout culture. Sometimes it's genius, sometimes it's an evil thing, sometimes it's just your parts of your soul as far as, fantastic literature goes. But it's pretty cool. It's definitely worth noting. Some people would even say that your demon is just your repressed self, and your repressed self sort of gains its own independent consciousness that manifests as some terrifying fucking entity that, like, makes you do evil things like murder people. Like, who's to say that science and spirituality aren't both right in that case? I mean, science could be like, no, it's just you have split personality disorder and you're a crazy person, and that's why the voices are telling you to kill people. They're like, yeah. But what if those things turn into their own thing? Like, that's how powerful they become. So you have this demon that gets set loose that can think and talk on its own. Like, you can, in other words, you die, and it's like, all right, my owner is dead, but I'm like still walking the earth, terrorizing fucking humanity, and I am now Jack the Ripper type of thing. I don't know. Just spitballing here, man. We're just philosophizing. This is what we do. That's what we do. Are you more often on Discord than YouTube? No, I'm rarely on Discord, Ricardo. I'm trying to make the switch. Not to make the switch, but I'm putting in more effort to be present on the Discord, because it is a cool platform. It's just most of my time interacting with y'all is YouTube, like 99% of the time. His Dark Materials, Richie Breathe, that's what it was. Yeah, His Dark Materials. Sorry, I'm just seeing your guys' comments. Obviously, you've been correcting me this whole time, and I'm now just seeing it 5 minutes later. Movie called Black Box. That's the second time that's been brought up, Ricardo, which means I'm going to have to write it down. Noted. Black box. Netflix. High or traditional fantasy. Instead, modern. Yeah, there you go. Also, well worded. Appreciate it, Richie. The gods are all mad. Spiritual science. Well said, Wowsks. How do you pronounce your name? Mwazk. Mwazks. Ways. Ways. Okay. Have work tomorrow, you guys. Thank you for being here, chilling, doing the things, sharing. And tomorrow I'll do a little premiere for the release of the next audiobook. And I'll see you then. Alright? Alright, zip it up and zip it out.